Andreas says, can you cover if day, the simulated German invasion and occupation of the Canadian city of Winnipeg?
Canada is a country. Waves of people came to this country, were welcomed by the folks who have lived here for millennia, the First Nation. And built this society with waves of people fleeing religious persecution, fleeing tyranny, fleeing to try and build a better life for themselves here than they had back home. Whether it's folks fleeing from world wars or fleeing from civil wars, these people always want the same thing: to be able to live in peace, to raise their families, to create a better future for themselves and their communities. And that is what generations created, this extraordinary, diverse society we have. Now, Canada remains one of the only countries in the world where citizens are, by and large, positively inclined. And one of the reasons we are that way is because Canadians have confidence in our government.
Yeah. Welcome to MK Canada. You know what I'm saying?
This is Pussy Riot.
Right up. All right. I don't know. So apparently that's the thing that's going on right now. You guys see that with Kanye? That's the new thing.
Oh, is that his presidential platform is wearing a mask while he's in office?
It's like bigger than what Prince did. I was actually pretty impressed with it. Let me see if we can find the link and everything here. It's really hard to see with this thing, but it's cool. I'm gonna try to do it for at least a few minutes before. Man, reading through this thing, it's definitely like use the Force, use the Jedi power. There we go. Here we go. So you see the clip here. This is him talking about Netanyahu. See, because he's got a net and he's got a Yoohoo. Yeah, 3 hours a day on Infowars, dressed up like the Marlboro Man during winter season.
Oh my god, I gotta look into that, man. I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, man.
It was wild.
It was crazy. I'm telling you, that's going to be part of the thing to think about.
He said some things.
Yeah, he said some stuff. You know, because like he basically said, "Love everybody, love the Zionists, love the Nazis, love everybody, love them all." I mean, he said, "Love, universal love." That's basically that's the kind of stuff that they crucified Jesus. We crucified Jesus for. You know what I mean? Like you can't just go around loving everybody, right? Like
it's true.
So I don't know. And you know, Alex Jones looked like he was like, "Oh, there goes another billion or a trillion or grillion." He was really scared. I don't know what you guys think about the whole thing of him just coming out and speaking on Alex Jones' platform. But it sounds like Vince, you saw it.
I just saw a few clips here and there. You know, it was just a few hours ago that I saw that, but I'll have to watch it entirely. It's just
the headlines are just. Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes was there with him, which was very interesting. Oh, look at that jacket. Oh, wait. What am I talking about? Look at this.
Intense, right? Crazy cold in Canada, eh? And it's actually
on the whole suit.
He's got the whole suit, the whole suit, and nothing but the suit. So help.
Do you ever snow disco? I'm just saying, it's a thing.
Maybe once or twice.
But all right, so here's the thing with Kanye though. He came out and he said a lot of stuff that was inflammatory, but also universalizing. And I feel like a lot of people are already upset right now because of the things that he said before, and then other people are going to take this too, like because Nick Fuentes is associated publicly with like racial. He has some thoughts on race, like that are kind of like there are different races. He's the non-Blavatsky of the group. And I don't know. I'm kind of worried about what this is going to do for Kanye because he's saying, hey, I got to get rid of the handlers. But what's up with Milo and Fuentes, right? Like, do they seem okay at all? I don't know.
Good question.
Yeah, it depends who they work for. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, right. So like Fuentes, is Fuentes CIA? Like, I mean, right?
He dresses like CIA.
I mean, he's Jesuit, he's Catholic. I guess that doesn't mean anything these days, but you know, he seems like, yeah, he acts like he's still a.
That's a CIA setting right there.
Oh yeah, he went on with Kanye, right?
Right. Twice now. I mean, at least, probably more. I know he was on Tim Pool's and they walked off. And then he did today he's done InfoWars with him today, which was for 3 hours.
Why did he walk off of Tim Pool?
Oh, so you didn't see that one either. So let's go back a little bit of the week. Gosh, hold on.
I heard about it. It was interesting.
So this is I wish I had put that clip up. You're right. There was another clip. Where's that clip? Is that
who had walked off Tim Pool?
Kanye did.
Okay, before doing InfoWars?
Yeah, let me see if I can find. I did save the clip. Where did I put that?
Milo Yiannopoulos came to Penn State, and it was interesting. Like I saw his lecture. Milo Yiannopoulos.
Oh, Milo. Okay.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
It was really interesting, in a sense. Like I used to be, when in his heyday, like Milo, I thought the level of troll that he like ascended to I thought it was funny, you know, like thought it was funny in that regard, but that one, it just had a way more different feel to it. And it's he's one of those people, I think in some sense, he's so gifted that I can't tell if what he did was satire. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's where it becomes powerful propaganda, or you can't tell the difference anymore. It's like, where is he serious? Where is he not? And then, you know,
when he was
you find yourself making jokes with racists, and then you end up saying racist stuff because, you know.
Well, he was living in Florida. You know, he's trying. You got to be more careful. But he did try to, you know, go straight, and he's doing the super straight conversion therapy stuff, which is interesting. I mean, it's weird, and he's definitely changed his accent now. He's trying to speak more American because he's trying to code switch in order to help him along that path. And so he was on Timcast for 655, and then 665 was the 10th episode after. That's when he brought on Kanye. And so it was interesting because, you know, here's the clip. I can't play the audio properly. I guess I could if I do audio. All right, let me see if I can get this to work.
Yeah, it should let you share audio.
Only if I cheat, because I'm on a Mac. It's really sad. Let's see here. Run the application. Setting. Audio. Soundflower 2.
And we found out that my trainer was a MK Ultra Canadian intelligence.
He worked in the defense research and development in the Canadian military, essentially working on psyops
Who's
in
this
the
guy?
Canadian military. This is Harley Pasternak.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Canada is a country.
No, I'm just kidding. Did you guys actually get to hear that though? Was the audio? Did the audio?
Yeah, the audio was
Yeah,
good.
So then what he ends up doing? Now it sounds kind of. Hold on. Let me look at that. Is this better now? Okay. So basically, then he goes and he decides he's going to talk about who are they though. That was the next one. And where'd that go? Here we go. The individuals on TikTok identify as they them. Just kidding. That wasn't the contact. But in general, that was where Tim's like, I can't agree with you. We can't go into that. We can't talk about Zionism or anything like that. And so then today, the entire band.video, you know, because if you want to see it, you can go to band.video.
So Exertus, that's what Kanye was trying to bring up with Tim is Zionism.
Right.
And
Right. So today he went 3 hours on that subject uninterrupted in front of Alex Jones while he was sweating. And it was just insane. Like to watch Alex Jones be like, whoa, dude, calm down. But at the same time, he was also saying like really good things about everybody and but he said all kinds of weird stuff that is going to probably become very perpetual in the common sway right now. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video I put out the other day on blessings every day, but it's a swastika NFT art that's trying to reach.
That was good stuff.
So it's public now because it was unlisted for a minute while YouTube approved it. It's approved now. So you can kind of see where things are going with this. It's the never again movement and trying to take back and to really identify what happened, because we're not so different from any of these groups that have hurt so many people, and we need to see what happened. How does that happen to a group that they use democracy really to create a dictatorship? I mean, and there's all kinds of, oh yeah, they cheated, but hey, then you get to a point where a minority is exploited, or a bunch of minorities are exploited, and the mission to try to return things back, because we've taken the death rune and made it the peace symbol. It's time to take the hate symbol and turn it back into its original use that existed all throughout history and time and space. So it's really interesting that this confluence is happening all at the same time, as people are saying, hey, let's identify what's really the difference between these things, and is there anything that we can find that's more inclusive about them? You know what I mean? I don't know.
As long as it just doesn't get to the point of genocide, I guess, right?
That's the scare, right? I think Lex Friedman's made that point. He's really scared. Ben Shapiro is like, dude, at this point, he shouldn't be like people are exploiting Kanye by having him speak. They're saying, because why, letting him speak this way.
What's the difference between Kanye West and scam, bankrupt, fraud? The two billionaires that from last quarter were billionaires and now both are absolutely broke. Sam's also now being allowed on media. One's being kicked off for bringing up racial issues and lost his entire wealth just for speaking. Whether it's not hate crime. I don't know. But the laws of it compared to someone that stole $8 billion.
I mean, so the thing with the money is he was pretty well used. He's a patsy, and I don't know how much he knows what was going on. And Kanye has time and time again proven that he knows what's going on, because he's used the capital he's made by shaking around and dancing that they've made him do in order to make businesses and companies. And the companies he's made have been very successful, but then he's found like Jared Kushner and Joe Kushner taking over his companies, putting big money into them so that they can control what he's doing. And so he's always been kind of aware of things to a level that I don't know exactly if Sam Bankman was. Maybe, though. I don't know. I think Bankman has proven he doesn't know what's going on, because he's playing Counter-Strike with his own account, and he's like tweeting, and that makes me kind of think he's like, yeah, he doesn't know what's happening.
Is there corporate negligence charges yet? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so that's a thing to consider. So how's crypto affecting all you guys, and what are you thinking about, with the last huge crypto bust? I mean, it's a world shaking event, right?
Yeah, man, let's hear it.
I've lost about 80% of my crypto value, I'd say, in like the last year since the peak. It's pretty rough.
Did you say 80%?
Oh yeah.
Okay. At least you have love.
Right? Exactly. And that's why I didn't suggest a single like type of crypto or shill any project or anything like that to my listeners or followers, or like do any crypto videos, because it's like I'm just learning it, and yeah, I obviously sucked at it, taking an 80% hit overall. Terra Luna hit me pretty hard, and then just some other ones. It was rough.
Bernie, you're free to put up Bert and Ernie if it helps. I think that's brilliant.
Hooray.
I just noticed because, Bernie's like, hey, the names do cover people's faces otherwise. So that's something to do. There we go. In the process. Well, so winners and losers from the FTX assassination. That's right. We're not just talking about the collapse of your crypto. We're talking about like the disappearing people involved, right? That are dying, right? This is kind of the thing that's happening. There we go. We'll move you down to the base. Switch D. Yeah, I mean, what's to see here? Sam Bankman-Fried got to expose another huckster. QA. Who's the dead guy, though, right? Who died? There's like 6 people involved with FTX that died. FTX assassination.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, just like the
Vincent, your computer's spinning up real fast. I just decided to mute it for a second. crypto investors who lost a big. No, it's not just that. There's like dead people. Where's the list of the dead people?
I want to see the dead people.
News.
Well, I'm curious, like, say theoretically there's shady stuff going on. Like, how much of it is like trying to avoid penalties like slash suicide slash, you know, the other thing, you know?
There was Tehran who died in a crypto billionaire who died in a helicopter crash. Then there was Tiantian Kullander died in his sleep at 30 years old. There's been a few others that were all Nikolai Mushnikin.
But in FTX, there's been some deaths in some of the people. I have not heard of that. Is that new or old?
There's something that happened this week. I'm just trying to remember. If anyone in the chat remembers the names, I'll also look through there. I think Nikolai was involved also.
BitBoy, if you know who BitBoy channel is on YouTube, Ben, he went down to the Bahamas to confront Sam Bankrupt-Fried there, and I've been spamming his channel trying to get him to change his name from BitBoy to Bitman to be like Bitman.
Man up, dude. Yeah, man that
Right?
shit up.
Bitman versus scam bankrupt fraud.
I assume that some of these people are dying for other reasons, but that's a lot of people that died in the last few weeks. And I mean, so there's a lot of things going on. There's money being moved around Ukraine. Say it again. Sorry.
$8 billion and nobody dying. That's like a first, or watch it over the next month or two, I guess.
Imagine you took a frat house and just injected the entire thing with pure human growth hormone. And I think that's the culture of like what cryptocurrency has become essentially. And I think there's a way a lot of these, I guess, firms, you could call them, loose term.
Yeah, I mean, the big one was, of course, that FTX was investing and donating. And so the places that the money was being invested in was taking over failing projects so they could really watch all of the money that's flowing in crypto. And the donating, because they were second only to Soros in donating to Biden in the Democratic campaigns. So there's this whole thing where the Democrats gave money to Ukraine. Ukraine put money into FTX. FTX put the money, donated money to the Democratic Party to perpetuate it. And it's just, seems to happen a lot. And I don't know, maybe he knew what he was doing. Maybe he thought, because obviously the thing is you donate to the president, so you stay in power, right? Like if you have money, you donate to the president and then hopefully they take care of you, right?
Yeah.
So donate to your local police.
And the CEO, like, he had to have known some things. Like, he structured it by hiring as his main log developer guy the same dude that created that God mode cheat in that online poker company and stuff. Like, it's built as a scam from the ground up. Like, his second in command, has anybody even found a picture of the guy's face? Yeah, like, it's crazy.
Right. Also, Irving rejoins Nets after 8-game ban. Apologized for hurt his actions caused. So what happened exactly? Like, what did he do?
So he posted I think maybe on Twitter or something like that, but he posted some content about a documentary that I guess had some anti-Semitic themes or content or saying quotes in it. And essentially, I guess, yeah,
because he had read he'd watched that documentary he wrote, Hebrews to Negroes, right?
I think that was the one. And essentially during the media conference time, whether he was called out or not, I guess he refused to state that he did not have anti-Semitic beliefs, something along those lines. But I don't know. I think they're just kind of dicking him around. I mean, he's always got a target on his back because he likes, he's into flat earth and conspiracies, and he's got the Eye of Horus on him. And
so he thinks he's like, because the Hebrew to Negro documentary suggests that they're like one of the original, at least, tribes of Israel, which, seems fair. A lot of people could be one of the original. There's 12. There's a lot of different kinds of people. It seems like maybe there's something to that. I haven't seen the documentary yet because it's $60. And I feel like I think the idea of a documentary that costs that much, to watch is, I mean, you can watch it on archive.org, and you should if you're gonna, because I found it. I'm just saying, to pay $60 or $11 to rent it is crazy. And if you're trying to wake people up to the truth, then you don't do that. If you're trying to exploit people, you charge them that kind of money. And who are you trying to exploit? Who's interested in this movie, right? So it seems like they're trying to exploit persons of color by making them pay $50 for, I mean, that's a crazy amount of money to pay to see a movie. That does concern me.
Yeah, that's a bit ridiculous.
Wakanda should be free.
Right? That is a thing. FTX was heavily into funding vaccine research, biotech engineering, and other globalist depopulation agendas through the scientific research community. Thoughts?
Well,
$132 million in hundreds of grants. This is like Epstein level stuff. Earmarked by the FTX Foundation and its FTX Future Funds for use in developing new bioweapons, vaccines, and other chemical and pharmaceutical products.
Just as long as Sam doesn't turn out to be the next Epstein.
Well, I mean, have you seen Epstein when he was young?
That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, check him out. This is what he used to look like.
Right?
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying.
Wait, do you guys want to get into cloning right now, or?
I don't know. Actually, that's messed up to think about. That makes it okay. You actually segued into a way that I'm okay with. If it's cloning, then that's fine. Then that's. But otherwise, I mean, if you like leisure suits and if you like to perm your hair, I'm okay with perming your hair in leisure suits. And you know, I don't know. I'm a libertarian when it comes to cloning to an extent, but yeah, this seems...
I'm not okay for cloning Epstein or Sam Bankman.
You see where the boundaries go, right? There's a problem here. Who wants to do the cloning? Yeah. I don't know. We're not saying he is cloned. We're just discussing
it's not impossible.
it. We're just discussing. It's certainly not impossible. It's pretty brutal. I don't know, but the research thing is pretty interesting. So you take all this money and people are thinking, hey, we're going to invest. Isn't this very similar to the crash of 29 or something? Like people are putting all this money expecting, oh, well, we can get it back because it's all virtual. It's like we're only trading 10% and it's gone.
Maybe they're preparing for a world war.
Brutal. I don't know. Bank, what's the word? Bank equalization or monetary, fiscal. There we go. Fiscal equalization. So this idea that was proposed at least in 2014 that suggested that, hey, what would be really cool would be as if all of the bank systems that are trading equalized all of a sudden. Like what if, you know, I know it's crazy here, but like what if things that are 6-to-1 and 30-to-1 and 1-to-15, and what if they were all just 1-to-1 for a little while, right? What would that do? And so they created this kind of map out. It's still not there. I mean, poor Canada, because they're not quite 1-to-1. But imagine the future, because if this happens, think about what it means. First off, you don't want to have a high expense economy if you want to have labor there, right? Because then it's expensive to pay by the hour. So you try to get a country that has just arbitrarily, it costs less dollars per hour for labor vouchers, right? What's he called? Labor voucher. We have an entire economy based on the idea of instead of gold, it's backed by backed by the idea of actually using, hours of labor, and then that way you can say it's worth 1/8 of an hour of your time, or 8 hours of somebody's time in Africa, or 1 hour of somebody in Germany. Like it's all designed to be, you are a resource of the state, and then the state can refine you, and that's where your value comes from.
See, that's what we need to turn crypto into, and real crypto. Like smart contracts, human to human business. 1 hour of anybody's time is worth another hour of anybody's time, sort of deal.
So that's what's always been interesting to me about crypto, is that it's literally Das Kapital, because the idea of crypto is an economy based around people's participation in the economy. So you might have a silver coin, or you might have a GPU based coin, or you might have an ASIC based coin. It's the amount of labor or energy that's going into the participatory amount of energy that's going into the thing, mixed with Moore's law, how much humans are scaling technology, and technology is progressing over time, right? So it is kind of this weird Das Kapital. And you could have Solar Token, which is the economy of Solar Token. You could have Navajo Token, but it's each one of these economies, each coin is a Soviet, right? The idea of a Soviet is a collective that is an economy in and of itself. The Soviet Union, right, was a union of Soviets.
When you look into like the true metaverse utility NFT projects and what they're developing into and the actual economies of it, it's pretty crazy. And I do see a future in that aspect of it. But back to Kanye West. Have you ever seen the clip of Kanye talking about the 888s and the different solfeggio frequencies being put into music and how it manipulates the emotions
with the 808?
Like
808. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. He's talking about well, he says that Lucifer is the god of music, or the angel of music, and that his rib was made of he had a harp in his rib, and that the 808 is basically the devil's tool, and that they put out beats through it, and then they overlay messages about killing each other, fucking each other's girlfriends, killing each other, fucking each other's girlfriends. And that's where Kanye
evil spell.
Yeah, you gotta imagine how hard it is to be. You gotta imagine how hard it is to be the devil, though, right? Because I mean, imagine the devil. Like, he's this guy or girl, that's even more interesting, that they have to worry about their pronouns, and that they're spending all their time leading worship. That they're in charge of how the angels worship. That's their whole thing. They're automatons for worship. And every day he has to worship harder than yesterday. So today he's like doing a water show, and then tomorrow he's like, that was stupid. I'm sorry, God. I thought it was the greatest thing ever, but today we're gonna have rings of fire. We're gonna be rolling. Angels will be flying through rings of fire. And the next day he's like, that was ridiculous. I don't know what I was thinking. Lord, that was boring. Today we're gonna have a bowling championship where we're just gonna throw angels off of a cliff, and then they're gonna make light. No, that's boring. The next day, and just imagine you have to write a new song about God every day, and everyone has to play it, and you're doing this for literally eons. You know what I mean? It's like it's working for a boss. So then you've got all the songs that pop music is now, right? And a lot of them were for a while Lucifer's songs about God, like I love you so much, I can't live without you. You can remember that from the Sister Act. But most of the songs have become I don't need you anymore, I'm breaking up with you, goodbye, God. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about Lucifer. It's like it's very, at this point, derivative of themselves.
Well, that's interesting. It's like pop culture's catching up to what like metal and goth culture has been doing for 20, 30 years. So now all the imagery has transferred into regular culture. But
dude,
like,
Baby Metal is such a cool band.
Yeah.
Good job, Baby Metal.
Yeah, but they for them their thing is the fox spirit. So they're like they're not Satanists or anything like that. They have a weird mythology of their own. I have a friend who's really into them. So.
Yeah, dude, fox spirits are cool. Good job, Japan, with the fox spirit. Very creepy, but there's a great video game. Good job, PS5. Cool.
For people who don't know, spirit is essentially the Japanese version or Chinese version of a succubus. So I don't know how banal that exactly is. It might be a little more sinister than it looks. They tend to cute
Japanese
things.
I think that's just some guy who wanted to fuck a fox and it said no, so he called it a succubus.
Yeah. Japanese have a lot of succubus kind of things going on. The snow witch is pretty good.
Well, there's a story of a Chinese or Japanese emperor who's basically he's dethroned because he lets this woman who has the fox spirit into his life, and she, the fox spirit leaves her body and enters his and then becomes the emperor, right? So I think that's the original fox spirit. So the idea is it's maybe even like, sort of what we would think of more as a Native American idea of like a skinwalker, right?
Definitely don't trust, Mozilla's gone there's some things about it that I don't trust anymore, so I could get with that. I like the Snow Queen, the Snow Witch, because you got this witch spirit who turns, like, she's the wind or the snow, I forget how it goes, and she turns into a beautiful girl and saves this dude's life, and they have a family, but then the dude betrays the promise of telling how he met her or something like that, or who he saw the one time that saved her life, which was the Snow Witch. And then so she like abandons him and he has to die, and she just goes back to howling at the wind all the time. I mean, you know, it's usually like dudes messing up relationships, which is kind of interesting that you'd have an entire bunch of like spooky horror stories about dudes who like messed up their girlfriends' lives.
Mm-hmm.
Balenciaga, we're gonna do it. We're gonna go there. Let's go. Look at that. Look
Yeah.
I mean,
their
I'd argue
head
that
designer.
I'm sorry. I'd argue that the reverse of that is
just
far more prevalent.
yeah, it's true. There is a lot of girls messing up relationships in the spooky stories too. It's true. It's like in general, people messing up, that's good. You should have stories about that.
But that's usually they call her a witch when they fuck up. So
yeah.
In the old story,
You guys are a little more progressive
evil witch
in Canada. I'll try to tone it down.
No, go for it. Don't worry. Okay, we get pretty dark.
I mean, but so is that segue? Because like Balenciaga's bondage theme campaign, everyone's seen this, I think, at this point, probably. The pictures of these kids with these dolls wearing these leather straps, like it's just more than the 90s. It's very, I don't know. It's pretty bad. I mean, the thing is, it's almost tame compared to the things that we've seen so far, though. Right? It is what it is. But then they've apologized for it. So it is like they're saying, oh no, we have to walk it back. Society is no longer going to allow this anymore.
I mean, the name of the company is essentially do as thou wilt. I mean, it means do what you want, but that's basically.
So it was funny if you do the Google Translate, because there's like 6 things that come up in different languages. Let's see if I could translate it to detect maybe. What does it do?
Isn't it Italian? I mean, let's translate it in Italian and see what that means.
So, I mean, they're saying it's Stellama. Yeah.
Doesn't want me to translate it in Italian. All right. I'm not sure because it's just a name. I guess the other thing, you can look back at the etymology of other people using the surname. Cristobal Balenciaga, Spanish fashion designer, life.
What's in a name?
Lots of stuff, right? Valence. Okay, Valent. Like so, UT Valence. Valence is like Valencia, right? So it's like Valiance, and then Iaga, which is like, let's see, Spanish. It could be like Iago, maybe. I don't want to guess, but I would say like if you think it's like Iago or something like that, then it's like Valiant. What's Iago again? Is that Joe? No, Joe. Iago. Iago.
No idea.
Iago name English equivalent. Like Diego or Iago, right? I don't know. It's like Iago is also the name of a character in Shakespeare, you know, but I'm not sure because it's somebody's like family name. But usually like B can be a V, so this would be probably Valiant, and then this might be the name of somebody. So it could have been his great grandfather or something had a name like that. Still, the name is interesting because it does translate to Bal, you know, and also there's a couple other ways. Yeah, CIA's in there. I mean, you know, that's obviously coincidence, but it's still pretty interesting.
Well, they're the ones making weird fucking ads for child pornography, and I don't know.
I mean, that is really messed up, right? I mean, this is worse than the American Apparel ads from like 2010.
Honestly, if you look at this next 2 things that you see on like libs of TikTok, like you can't help but notice patterns, basically.
Yeah, so Gabriele Galberti, the photographer on the shoot, has disavowed any connection with the ideas behind the shoot.
I think there's a trajectory and a point in which you seek such extreme either liberation or the opposite of that intolerance, and it just like inverts itself, and we get these types of phenomena happening. And that, I think, whoa, that's like the whoa point. What's going on here? It's very strange. I think everybody agrees that it's strange, and it's strange from extremely different perspectives.
I don't know. I think a lot of people didn't notice it. So mean, as a Californian, this almost would just pass me by. It's like, oh yeah, this is what people are doing now. Kim Kardashian had to go and apologize, right? And she was like, I didn't talk for a few days because I didn't know what was going on with Balenciaga. Like, I didn't know how this could have happened. I think that's the thing. A lot of these people had to be told, hey, you have to stop this or else this would have just continued on anyway. Has no soul for continuing with Balenciaga. Like, oh, well, this is an accident. We didn't know.
What is all this about, Exertus? I haven't heard about this one.
Well, Kim Kardashian's like she's like works with Balenciaga, so it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's weird that the Kanye thing is happening simultaneously. There's this whole other thing where she was also on Gutsy.
Right.
Gutsy, Kim Kardashian, Clinton. And she like did a contest with her to see if she could beat her or like compete her legal knowledge. And Kim Kardashian beat Hillary Clinton's legal knowledge. And one of the funniest questions was one that was like obviously, the incorrect answer to. And the reason was because the way Hillary answered it was like basically like, no, you have to like disappear them because otherwise they might, talk or something like that. So it was like, are you kidding me? On your own show, you would make this joke, Hillary?
Yeah.
But yeah, and she's been dressing more and more like some sort of like, Terminator. It's great.
All
Right?
celebrities
Like,
are
what
just
is
becoming more and more robotic. Look at
Yeah.
Madonna. Like Madonna just looks like a fuck doll. That's all she really has.
There
going.
you go.
Like a inflatable from the 50s. Not very not
Yeah.
quality anymore. No offense,
I agree,
Madonna.
man. No offense, Madonna.
Yeah.
No offense, Donna.
Look,
right.
when you're 900 years old, you should take a break. Go back into the isolation.
900 years old, as good as Madonna. You look. Yeah, exactly. That's fair.
Ray.
Drink some blood, something.
I feel bad. All right. I mean, so okay, labor vouchers. We're thinking about this idea though of the world being run by these guys who are basically who knows what they're into. They're financing all this crazy stuff. All of this occult stuff's coming out right now. Oh, the homeless dude, homeless man, Canada. Can I find this one? Explosion. You see this thing? They blew up a bridge in Canada. No, that's not even the one. There was a whole other one. Just like, how many of these are happening?
We only have a couple of those things around, man. We can't be losing those.
Hopefully Ryan makes it on because he had the link to it. I'll see if I can find it on his channel. But it was maybe it's in media. But let's see here, go down. And he posts so much. The Asperger's can nuke. All right, let's see what we can do. Oh man. Wait, there it is. Okay, so huge explosion under bridge in Toronto. Check this out. Can you see that? Is that big still?
Whoa.
Yeah.
When was this?
So this was like a week ago.
Really?
Like over, like I think it's Friday or Saturday.
That's not too far from me. Yeah. Holy. Oh, was it part of? Do you know if it was part of an art project?
I don't think it was part of an art project.
Because because that looks like an area where they usually set up an art project this time of year.
Oh, maybe it could be a thing. It sounded like there was like it was. I mean, I doubt that would be something they would do on purpose while there were cars under.
No. I don't mean on purpose, but I just thought like maybe something went wrong.
Oh yeah. A lot of butane. Yeah. It could be. I don't know.
Wow.
That's a big explosion. So I know there's been a few of these things going on. Like,
wow. Okay.
Thoughts?
That's crazy, man.
Any thoughts on that? Like on the on explosions in Canada?
Well, I'm curious to know like where that came from. If it was from an art project, or if it was from like a crash, or if it was from.
Yes, Anthony.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it looks like I don't know if anyone had like the explanation for it yet. Let me see what's going on. Maybe Ryan's gonna have the answer for it. Entropy work. Meth lab explodes. Not sure. Pretty cray. Let's see here. Also, you want to do the clip, Bernie? You have a clip from the. You want to play that clip on your side because you got audio. I can't play it on. Audio.
Okay, give me about 30 seconds to get it ready here.
Okay. I'll look also here with this one.
At 11:11 is when the explosion was reported.
11:11.
Report, yeah, 11:11 under the bridge. Reports of propane tanks exploding. Where did it go? Shoot, where did heavy smoke, road closures. Yeah, propane tanks exploding is what the Toronto police operations had reported.
That's pretty weird, man. Propane tank explosions. I don't know. But they don't say why. They don't say who did it or anything like that.
Aerosol cans. No, there's not in that article.
Pretty strange.
Pretty strange.
11:11.
Oh, here we go. So there was boiling liquid expanding under vapor, explosions during the fire. So I think it's because oh yeah. So I'm gonna send you a link. It's because of like the tent city like stuff going on underneath. So things were just blowing up and burning. So there's like if you look at the article, you can see all the different tanks.
Okay, so they didn't have it's all like haphazard propane tanks.
Yeah, look at I see like 4 tanks just there alone.
Yikes.
Wow. Yeah, not super safe. That sucks.
Those people.
So I mean, like, what's up with that? Like, that's
well, I mean, what do you do? Like, so these guys don't have a house. Do you move them into like some sort of like encampment that the government owns, like a big apartment building, or do you let them live under here? And then what happens? What do you not let them do, or what freedoms are they allowed to have? I don't know. People dying though.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Blow up a camp. That's pretty sucks. And it's right underneath a bridge, so people driving over it are like, "Whoa, what happened?" Like maybe they crashed their car.
Yeah, that's pretty sketchy, right? Like. Definitely less homeless encampments under bridges.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
Or at least with propane tanks everywhere.
Maybe they're trying to kill homeless people with propane tanks.
I know. Like, that's what I'm starting to think here.
You got the audio for the science clip with Ye?
Tell us about the 808 being dirty. We're gonna watch this together, guys, and I'm gonna talk some more about solfeggios in general and what he's trying to do. It's interesting that the whole world suddenly wants to know about these.
It sounds like a delay pedal.
He said that, and he's fashionable mind to go do shit in life. Who would have thought?
I don't know if this clip's gonna work. I can only hear it every like few seconds.
Influence you to go do dumb stuff and lead a dumb life.
Can't hear it. You can't hear the clip.
No, I do. It's just bouncing around.
We all know video games can't do that. We all know music. Let's go.
Yeah, it just bounced. It's hard to understand what he's saying. Oh, okay, that's good. Try that.
You know what I'm saying? The 808.
I can't understand him. I'm sorry.
No,
dude. But we get the point. He was talking about the algorithm.
He's talking about the 808.
Talking about that, yeah. Throw the link in the chat so I can.
Yeah, throw the link in. Maybe I can play with the sound garden.
Oh yeah, he could do it. Yeah.
Here it is. You said 3:42. You said. Hold on, 3 hours in.
No, 42 minutes or 40 or 44 minutes in. 43, 30.
All right, let's see what I got here.
Minutes, 30 seconds.
Go on, let me get the audio working here.
My man.
Frequency manipulation, solfeggios, and highs on the tech. He's saying dive and the night editing, the whole sound are underway. Inside for mind,
I think it was right back at 43 minutes and 30 seconds. That was the Kanye clip.
There we go.
Dumb things with your time influence you to go death or energy. Wait. Let's go.
The algorithm what I'm saying? The 808 exists in the lowest chakra of your body. The majority of content that's related to the 808 is killer or sexual content. The original 808s was even off pitch. So that meant it's an actual sound in the track that you don't realize is there that is fucking up your entire frequency. Right. And now today, every time I hear a car come out, it's 808. But if you think about African music and hip hop and what we breakdance to, it was light.
The percussion.
It was upbeat. It was the drums.
All right, so we heard him break it down.
It's not the clip I saw, but it relates.
He doesn't explain it very well, but yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a better original clip of it all that I was playing on my show, but it got taken down, so I haven't been able to find the original since. So that's why that was kind of crappy. Sorry about that.
That's
it's
okay,
much
Bernie.
larger, better clip out there of it.
We'll let it slide, Bernie.
Well, welcome, Ryan.
Hey, so good to see you guys. Oh, dude, this is right by my house.
What's up, Ryan? Yeah, dude, we were just talking about that.
You know what this was, right?
Propane tanks?
Well, no. The reason why. Heritage building. This bridge is a heritage building. It just finished its construction, and the contract was just about done.
Yeah.
Isn't that convenient? A bunch of homeless guys happen to find a bunch of propane tanks and ignite them just in time to extend the contract a little longer.
We were just talking about how there was some suspicious stuff going on, Ryan. So that's interesting. Thanks for interjecting that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, somebody's making making bank off of this.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And on the bridge, if you're looking at the bridge here, it goes this way, and then that's Front Street. I think Front Street. Yeah, Front Street and Bathurst. On the left side, on the intersection right by the bridge, there is like this little mini mall of like a bunch of hipster stuff made with like shipping crates and containers.
Yeah.
They finished. Yeah, you remember that one? They built it and it finished just before COVID. And then they had a huge hit because nobody was allowed to leave their house.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they got any damage on there or not, but it's right around the same spot.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be surprised if somebody tried to get some like insurance scams.
I think that's too far to...
It's close. I don't know. Maybe.
Close,
you might be
think
right.
It's just not close enough. Unless someone hurls a propane tank.
I mean, after Kanye and Alex Jones, like, why not speculate? What's the worst that could happen?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
It was the Jews.
Do you guys see that new flag?
Oh, dear.
The flag
That's
where it's
why
like
it was
the
not
Nazi
11/11
flag, but it's got
exactly.
Yee on it. Funniest thing ever.
11/11.
Yeah, Andreas, we can't hear you. I don't
Yeah,
think
man.
I can hear.
The Tartarians are shutting you down, bro.
The anti-Tartars.
Yeah, you're getting the full trucker convoy treatment.
What?
You're done. Bye.
There you are.
You're done.
We got
You're
you.
done.
That doesn't make any sense. This doesn't
That's-
make any sense at all.
It's
There
like
we go,
listening
we
to
got it.
Trudeau in Q&A period.
That's horrible. They're like, I mean, okay, so here's the thing, though. He walked off the show. It worked. Good.
I'm getting weird audio from you now.
Yeah, now you just kind of cut down.
And now we can't hear you again.
Might have a loose
hey,
wire.
All right, how about this? We're good? We're back?
Yeah.
Yeah, bud.
So Kanye walks off Tim when he starts talking about MKCANADA. You know, he's got an MK Ultra Canadian doctor in military intelligence. And so I felt like that was, pretty relevant that there's all of a sudden a big push to know what's really going on with the British military and what's really what's interfering with international optics, because there's so much money that goes into running British and Canadian media. And now with C11, that's going to, we're always like, oh, it's going to mess with podcasters. I think there's a bigger picture thing here. It's going to turn a bunch of podcasters into the same machine that's been putting out Tavistock Media and Anderson Cooper for the last few decades or century, right? So is that you, Ryan? You're going to be a Tavistock Anderson Cooper from Anderson Canuck? Is that going to be your plan?
I don't know what the plan is at this point.
Anderson
Things are
Canuck?
moving so fast, dude.
What's
I
so
was just
fast?
watching. Things are moving so fast. Like the
Oh,
convoy
no.
hearings just got finished. They got to do the report on that. Bridges are blowing up. Kanye's starting the Third Reich again, talking about his 808s.
my god.
Tim
Ain't
Pool
no way to hot
fumbled
break.
an interview, and Alex Jones was like, "Whoa, I'm tapping out. I don't know what to make of this."
Yeah, it's kind of a scary day. Like Mercury is in retrograde when Alex Jones is the one like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit here and listen. That's kind of a scary, scary thing to happen. I mean, but the convoy protests. I mean, the convoy reports on the convoy protests. What happened with that? What did we find out? What's our January 6th on Canada?
When the head of your spy agency says, "Yeah, the law said this, but I think the law needs to be changed," and they unilaterally decided to do whatever. Not just like everybody in the government side was doing that. And Alberta is based. They basically threw a gauntlet in the sand. They just made a new law saying if Ottawa fucks around, they're going to find out. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Nice.
What
It's
is
a
this?
while.
Yeah, and then if you want to
Trudeau
get
lied a lot.
depressed, they're going to try and like euthanize kids.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's a distraction from the convoy. And now we're like, hey, China, stop beating up protesters. Trudeau's getting pissed about that. And everybody's like,
The hypocrisy.
really, dude? Really? It's like, there's no way he's this stupid. There's no way. There's got to be like a Trudeau clone. Like Last Starfighter, how they made the second one so we could go fight aliens in space. But they left both of them here, and one talks about domestic stuff and one's international, but they don't.
I think one of them is the cuck and the other one watches.
Yeah.
Nice.
Some weird MK Castro program from Cuba.
Thanks for reminding me that Trudeau's actually not as racist as we thought. He's actually just historically sensitive in levels that we haven't figured out yet. Like,
Ray, look at that. This was it.
I didn't watch The Office, and so I've been informed about The Office and how there was an episode that was historically inclusive of Dutch traditions, including Schwarzpiet. But Schwarzpiet is Black Pete, and this is a tradition in the Dutch are trying to save it. Some are not, obviously. Some are like, this is crazy.
Black Peter.
Yeah, so he's like a Spanish Moor that used to run Holland, and they don't like it, so they have him as kind of this character that they do, Schwarzpiet. And I mean, the first thing I saw when I saw this was Trudeau, right? Like, this is a Trudeauvian move. So
he's made that. Yeah, he's made that.
maybe we just don't understand what he's doing. Like, maybe because he's so hyper educated, it's like a super deep innuendo, and he's just way clever. So
terrible. He's terrible at talking.
We were all wrong about him. It turns out he was just Dutch.
He's just so well cultured. That's all.
He's messing with the Dutch, because there's the Dutch Belgians, and he's pro Walloonish. There's a thing being Walloonophobic, to be afraid of French Belgians, which if you've never encountered doesn't make sense, but once you've done, you'll understand. I don't know.
Oh, so he's doing like Belgian face then.
That's
that's solely racist for a different reason then.
Yeah, it's true.
Their bottle.
Thank you for helping me with that. Canadian fashion retailers run ad promoting assisted suicide. You guys see these new ads from the Canadian fashion retailer? Dying in a hospital is not what's natural. It's not soft. 37-year-old voice Jennifer Hatch says at the start of a 3-minute video right here, available on YouTube so that all the kids can see it. Oh, it's gone.
Dude, I like Simmons too. They got some nice clothes. They got good swag. And I'm like, now I'm conflicted. I feel like a chick who was like really into Balenciaga, or what do they call it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do now? What do you do?
You just buy something else.
Yeah, is Patagonia still
Mark
okay?
works where world it is now. And
Patagonia is Patagonia still okay? Like, they're suing Gap? That's good, right? Like,
that's progressive.
I mean, Gap is evil. We all know what they did, but like,
yeah, that whole thing with the DAP hoodie, that was low.
Wait, what they do?
I don't know.
No, I'm seriously. I don't know what they did.
I just meant like the human trafficking, child labor, lots of stuff. Gap been involved. But that's fair if you want to go into their fashion sense. I give you that.
Hoodie was low blow. But
yeah. I mean, I don't know. So like but the thing is, Simmons is pulled the ad, so it kind of shows that it's a contentious issue and that people are fighting against it, right? I mean,
pulled the ad.
Yeah, euthanize sad people. Who'd have thunk we didn't like it?
When I try going to it, it says video unavailable. So if I type in Siemens clothes, maybe if I go to Siemens clothes, it'll work. I'll try that.
You say it really weird, by the way.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to say it? Simons?
I'm pretty sure it's Simons.
Simons is the Anglo, and then
Siemens
French
clothes.
is Simon.
Oh, yeah. See,
Siemens is the German company, I think. Okay, what's wrong with the commercial though?
I don't know, man, because the commercial was like a 37-year-old woman saying, like, you know what, you really don't have to keep living if you don't want to.
Oh yeah, and she's actually going to euthanize. They literally farmed her for clout just before she walks into the clinic. That was the thing. Because she was depressed and she wanted to end it or something like that. She's like
the videos are private. Like they've made it
MK
impossible to
Ultra
find.
to the max.
Private. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't even know how to even like. Yeah,
but it
like,
had the
what's new
same.
about
It had the same music that they used to bring out Metaverse. You know, the little happy-go-lucky thing where it's like, we're here for you.
Is it La Maison de Simons, something like that? There we go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then where's their? Yeah, I think they just don't want people to see that video right now. Maybe you have to be subscribed. Is that like? Is there like a trick? Like if
It's only for the real fans.
I think it's part of, I think it's just part of hypernormalization, and so it's basically they put it out there and then they retract it, and then they'll put it out there even harder later, retract it again. And
Dude,
so
that's so JJ. You saw at the beginning of the video, right? You saw that clip, Ryan. You weren't here yet, so I'll
No,
just
I
play.
didn't.
I'll just play it again because this all.
Andreas says, "Can you cover if day the simulated German invasion and occupation of the Canadian city of Winnipeg?"
Yeah, so there, and then all of a sudden the video cut off while we were.
Really?
Yeah, he's doing the answer. He's like, I don't know about that, and then he just pulled the stream down afterwards, which was really
What?
Yeah.
That's when was this, dude?
This is yesterday. JJ had a live stream at Chat and Tell, and so
Dude,
it was
while
like,
you're at it, just ask him who they is. Like, what the hell?
yeah, that's fair.
Who is they?
So
He was just like, if day. I've never heard of if day. Like if day.
is that,
Canada.
so
Is
that
it-
video isn't up anymore?
No, it's not up. I can't find it. So if anybody knows how to get a copy of, you guys are like weird. If there's a Canadian fan out there of JJ that saved that video, or you're a hacker, you know, whatever it takes. Just, I'd love to see the answer.
Does he have a BitChute account as well, or no?
I don't think he does have a BitChute account. Maybe.
Okay. Well, no, because like the Odyssey and BitChute, they often have like a scraping function if you make an account
Yeah.
there.
I
I know
checked
during the
Odyssey.
Roman McClay thing when he murdered all those people, like there was a whole bunch of people in my little neck of the woods that were interviewing him about his book Sanction, talking about how great it was. None of them ever read it. But they all started deleting the videos because they didn't want to be on camera praising a serial killer. And so I'm like quickly going to the side, like BitChute and Odyssey, and they were all there. I'm like, all right, boys, let's bring it down.
Yeah, see, because that's like Sixhaven, Six Haven, people like that. They want to have their videos saved. Like he literally is like a happy 1 million subscriber YouTube channel that doesn't want anything weird on his channel. So he just has only things he wants to have on his channel. Has a live conversation, just pulls it down right afterwards once he's done getting his super chats or something.
Oh, interesting.
Probably
Yeah, somebody's
safer that
scraping
way.
that.
I have there's a 55-second video I posted. If you want to check it out, is Justin Trudeau talking about the Chinese protests and
Let's do it.
comparing it to Canadian protests.
Oh, get your rage out. Let's do it.
Get my audio hijacking going again. One sec. Audio.
I want to say it's funny. One that,
No, that was a Futurama video. It's the previous link I posted. That one's about suicide booths, basically.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, with the it's funny to see how immediately Americans turned into, I guess, the code or like the understanding or interpretive lens of seeing what's going on with China, and how quickly some of my friends brought up like, oh, what's going to happen to Apple? Like that's
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, good point, dude.
Yeah, maybe some wild stuff is going to happen with Apple, but like, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, okay, let's see if I can get this to play. I can hear it. Hearing it?
Listen, Canadians are watching very closely. Obviously, everyone in China should be allowed to express themselves, should be allowed to share their perspectives, or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing. And indeed protest. We're going to continue to ensure that China knows we'll stand up for human rights, we'll stand with people who are expressing themselves. We also need to make sure that China and places around the world are respecting journalists and their ability to do their job. I won't call it a media organization. Your group of individuals continue to make that very clear.
That's generally typical of people who are narcissistic, which is to be accredited with moral virtue in the absence of the work necessary to actually attain it.
This guy, interesting. I don't know. So what do you think is going to happen with
What a
China?
hypocrite.
I think it's a test run. You know, Canada's learning about Canada Trudeau admires China, so he kind of created his own dictatorship that, you know, sort of the Canadian family friendly with a smile version of Chinese dictatorship that he borrowed basically.
Maybe he's
But-
choked that Z gave him that blast of shit. You open your mouth for idiot. And Trudeau's like, I'll get you. As soon as they protest, I'm going to talk some shit.
Right. That's the thing. It seems like there's another side of this. I mean, so I was thinking. So one of the questions I think about is like French nationalism in Canada and how important it is, and how they look at Louisiana, and how the French look at Louisiana kind of as a failure in some ways. But really, the real French love Louisiana because it has rock and roll and all
I
these
was going
things.
to say, do the Quebecers like it? I thought there was like a very, like with the Acadians in the East Coast, I thought the Quebecers and them have like a pure ligne Quebecois rivalry going on.
That's the thing. I think that there's something that's really interesting about, and maybe, you know, what's the word that describes New Orleans that's different is that it's inclusive. So it's French culture still. It's pretty French, but it's really inclusive. You can be not French. In fact, to the point that French is lost, like the language itself is lost in New Orleans, but the culture still remains in this weird way. I don't know. That is kind of what Degrassi is. That's kind of what Justin Trudeau wants, right? He wants to force together the
He wants to put Drake in a
LGBTQ and
wheelchair?
Sharia.
What?
Yeah, he wants Sharia and LGBTQ like together. Like he's inclusivity, right? That's kind of the Canadian.
Yeah, but he
idea of
wants
inclusivity.
he wants to homogenize like virtue, and that defeats the purpose of the diversity, because you're taking diversity and then filtering out all the unpleasant things and pretending they don't exist. It doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, but then he's calling out China, kind of. Well, kind of.
Yeah. So I mean, look, the extent that he cares is the extent of his image. He only wants
Yeah.
to be perceived as virtuous, basically.
Nailed it, 100%. That's all he cares about is looking good.
Well, I mean, how
Almost
bad
makes
are?
it-
Okay.
Do you remember that Harper ad where like their big hit piece on him was like, look at him in his nice hair, and everybody's like, what? And they're like, oh, he's kind of got a point. That's really all he's about is his fucking hair.
That guy with his eyebrows floating around his face. Yeah.
Oh, I'm starting to have that moment, you know, when you Americans were like, George Bush wasn't so bad. Like I'm there with Harper now, and I'm like, I hate myself.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was only because Bush went on Ellen, and soon
think
as the applause button went on the Ellen show for George Bush, people did what they were told. They applauded at the. It's because Dick Cheney's daughter dated, and I think Bush's daughter might have too. Not sure. Ellen DeGeneres, right? So that was you know this, correct?
I didn't know that. I just knew Bush was a drunk and a cokehead, and then he stopped and found Jesus.
Well, you know,
And
in that
Cheney,
show,
Cheney was anti-gay, but then his daughter was gay. Now he's pro-gay.
Yeah, well,
and
he's
then
always
they
pro-gay.
like decided to like electrocute soldiers in the shower to save a couple bucks on some Halliburton contracts. How I remember it.
Have you ever watched the show That's My Bush? Trey Parker and Matt Stone made a show called That's My Bush.
I've seen that.
They made a rule. They're like, okay, you can do the show, but you're not allowed to feature the daughters. And so they created this character called Princess. Princess is basically a conglomeration of the daughters, you know, as much as they were allowed to do. And then here's your favorite neighbor, which is also dude with the
Jeffrey
Down
Epstein?
syndrome's brother from Quantum Leap, randomly enough. But
Is that Epstein in the background?
no, that's Karl Rove.
Oh.
Oh, wait. This is Karl Rove, but maybe you're right. His favorite neighbor. Dude, rewatching that whole show. Dude, Epstein sweater. Is there a picture of him that looks like that?
That looks like the
No?
porn version of The West Wing.
Epstein in a sweater, maybe.
Yeah.
It was a good show, but yeah, they made sure that they had to hide certain things. Okay, what about the Chinese
what is
protests,
going
though?
on
How
there?
bad are they?
Look at those champion socks.
How bad are the protests? What do you think?
Oh.
What's going on in China? What do you know?
Best saying.
Well-
Have you guys heard the saying yet? The slogan? It
No.
started in Wuhan. It ends in Wuhan. And I was like, that's lit. Oh, whoever came up with that's a marketing god.
Wow. Started in
Breaking through
Wuhan, it
fences.
ends in Wuhan. That
Dude,
is
tell me that doesn't give you like a Braveheart chill down your spine.
It does.
that's the best. Yeah, that's definitely the best slogan I've ever heard. I think probably it's better than anyone they had so far. So what do they mean? What do they think? Does it mean the lockdown, or what are they saying?
Yeah.
Look,
No,
at this
not just
point,
the
there's,
lock- yeah.
there's
go.
probably a significant subset of them that believe it was made in the lab and that it was a bioweapon. And you know, you can only cover things up so long, and people eventually are just gonna take it back. You know.
I mean, the idea that the Chinese are manufacturing things was like made in China. The idea that Chinese are manufacturing things for the West is pretty, I think we're okay to say this is not just a conspiracy theory, all right? I mean, I've seen toys that actually even tell you this. So the idea that the Chinese are being told to manufacture stuff in a lab and they're getting paid to do it and they're doing what they're told in a lab, and sometimes it's dangerous work because they're professionals.
The rumor is they stole from Winnipeg, by the way. Our Winnipeg lab.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. I was just about to say that.
It's not my channel. I'm not worried.
From Winnipeg.
Yeah, so let's go for it. I've talked about this before, but let's do it again. Could the COVID virus have originated at the lab in Winnipeg? What's the connection to Bill Gates and Trudeau? Tell us about it. What do you know?
I don't know about Bill Gates. I know Trudeau was just woefully incompetent. And so this kind of happened all underneath his watch, and he just wasn't paying attention because nobody knows what a virus is. They just know pretty hair.
Well, I know that a couple of Chinese, undergraduates or whatever the heck workers that got their way, students got their way to work in Canada's biolab in Winnipeg and then got caught smuggling the exact coronavirus out of Canada. That's documented.
Well, it could be that they had this virus in different labs, and there was just different ways to spread it. We think that it came from China and that it was spread by people taking planes. But I mean, if you have the bioweapon, you can just unleash it locally everywhere, and then that's it.
Man, I totally forget what the article is, but I've seen the one that talks about Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You have your Agenda 301, the Party 301. What's it called? Like the 201, Event 201. Is that right?
I thought that was the Japanese in World War II.
23rd.
Ryan, you're so adorable. Event 201. So, the idea of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation working on virus simulations, actually synthesizing viruses for the work that's being done in labs to see how things would react to them under simulation, doing those in China after they were doing them in Winnipeg, bringing that virus like COVID-16, CoV-16 or something like that, or was it 2008? Or there's a whole bunch of different kinds of various coronaviral and they're patented. They bring that to China, and then in the lab that's controlled there, they bring that to another lab, right? So what's interesting is usually that happens like on a Caribbean island near Africa or something else, in Indonesia. Instead, they're doing this in Chicago equivalent, Wuhan, right? Because Wuhan's basically Chicago, as far as I'm concerned. Like this middle of Canada, middle of China. Winnipeg is actually a good example too, right? I mean, it's a...
Well, Winnipeg's isolated. I mean, what's
you got a lot
the
more
nearest place
population.
to Winnipeg? Does anybody know? I don't.
Me? I think I'm closer to Winnipeg than you guys.
Saskatchewan somewhere.
Yukon.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? But it's kind of dense. You know what I mean? So there's a lot. It's kind of like. Yeah. Also, Calgarian sounds like something from House of the Dragons or whatever.
Nobody says
I am a Calgarian.
They should start saying it. They should start saying it like that.
Calgarians? Like, what would you say? I'm from Calgary. You don't. What about the Calgarian?
Calgary. It's like
what about the
Calgarian?
Who's repping the Calgarians, bro? I mean, look at the
Calgarians.
Calgarians are really important people. The Calgarians are ancient. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
So back on this too, that wasn't so much like the virus stuff. Yes, that was all bad. The lockdowns are bad. The food supply that was harsh and they weren't getting delivered in, that was bad. What, if I remember correctly, what kicked this off is because they're chaining the buildings closed so you can't leave. One of the buildings caught fire, and I don't remember how many people died in it because they couldn't get out because it was all chained shut.
I mean, you don't know because you got numbers from the same people that count their own votes. It's like a Katie Hobbs number of people who died,
But like worst case scenario, an entire apartment building just went up in flames and killed everybody. And so for a lot of the Wuhan guys, they don't like the secret police, the camps and all that stuff.
I heard 100, then I heard 10, then I heard 2, then I heard that a cat saved a bunch of people. It's okay.
And this is right on the back. They had they've had their 2008 banking crisis too. A bunch of the major Chinese bank basically said that everybody's deposits are actually investment vehicles, and the government was not nationalizing it, but doing something to the point where they can't get the money back. So people have been locked out of their funds too. So you add all this stuff together and people are having like the, well, what have I got to lose moment? And I think that's arguably where we're at right now. Like they've literally got nothing left. They have no life savings. They're locked in their homes. Homes are catching fire. They're going to do COVID-2 electric boogaloo.
Dude, nothing. Yeah, well, let's go there. Electric Boogaloo. I had to take this video down recently, but still on my Odyssey. I've got the Electric Boogaloo Jar Jar thing. Here's the thing with the future. Then is Nothing to Lose more powerful than MK Ultra? Because it seems like you got Kanye, and people are asking, is he MK Ultra or has he got nothing to lose? It seems like the same kind of thing here. You've got a bunch of people that have nothing to lose, so they're ready to, do something, right?
I don't know. I've seen men go crazy like that with a divorce before when the kid starts getting like when they're doing that parental alienation. I think that's what Kim did. I don't think
This is
Kim
actually
did
what
it.
Chinese kids dress like now too. They actually look just like. Have you seen this stuff? Look at this. You know what I mean? They're basically. I mean, look at what is even going on with that shirt. That's so cool. I don't even get it.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, bro. I mean, he's like living in. Oh man, Chinese people have pretty cool stuff. I don't know if you know that. Made in China. Look at this outfit. Look at this outfit right here.
Cheap stuff.
There we go.
They're not sending you that. You know what I mean? You've got old ladies.
Chinese
Do you
drugs
have
are
old
called
ladies like that?
stims, and they have to like put them in the back of their lip or something, like a 80s cyberpunk thriller. That'd be awesome.
What do you call karaoke motels? I don't know if I can
Was
find
that
that.
Gucci? Was that
So about a million years ago, or 2015, China legalized ketamine and a lot of drugs. They had this rollout where they just forbid all sorts of drugs, which used to be made in China. Similarly to vaccine research, you had a lot of labs that were putting out huge amounts of research chemicals, all sorts of crazy stuff. And the Chinese were taking a lot of that themselves. And eventually they would stumble upon these buildings, which were these huge hundreds of room karaoke bars. And you'd take a karaoke bar with your friends. And this is where some of the clinical research found out that humans could eat way heavier doses of ketamine than they ever knew was possible. Until the Chinese were like, whoa, I guess, you could survive that. We had no idea that was even possible.
So much medical knowledge from the Chinese. Thank you, sirs.
Yeah, but the police sees 6 safes from illegal Chinese karaoke venues. So the Chinese karaoke venues are really interesting, and they're the speakeasies. They're the surveillance nightclubs. They're you get a private room that you go into with a machine that's like playing sounds that you can sing to, but also records you all the time, right? And so that's been a huge, but they rolled out a thing. So for a long time, anything was possible in China. And if you got in 2000, you're on the ground floor until maybe 2015. And then all of a sudden, China's like huge amounts of lockdown started pushing expats out of the country. I have a lot of friends who had to leave China who were just living in Shanghai, right? And all the drug culture that existed in China also dissipated. Like it's, they'll literally execute you.
Is that based or the other one?
It's a good question. Also, what do you think about that? Like authoritarian China. China forbid video games. This law, right? Kids can't play video games.
Oh yeah, but that was
illegal in China.
But that's the thing. Remember that meme where everybody's like, they need to start throwing commies out of choppers again? Everybody's like, that was based, and China's kind of doing their version of that. It's like,
yeah, but China's not communist, or maybe they are. Like, but they're very social. They're very.
Is any communist a communist? Like, they're all fake communists. They're all either rich kids with nothing to do, or
automation, though, is the question. Like, because if you can get enough,
they're communist in the sense of social control, but they still tolerate their financial markets.
Yeah, I mean, if you look,
not for ye.
if we produce enough automatons and you have a system of techno-Gaianism that allows for lack of scarcity, then what ends up happening is you do have a sustainable system until someone decides to destroy it recklessly, which is, remember kids in the 50s just breaking windows because there's nothing to do. Like, imagine that on a bigger scale if you have absolutely nothing you need to do. And that's the thing. How do you force people then to need to do something no one necessarily is going to focus on their art. You have lots of crazy people. So you'd have to have a beehive system where you weed out people that don't do what they're told, right?
Well, I think at that point, we have to have new frontiers to explore. So we'll have to have new access to things like psychonautics or astronautics, where we're exploring space, or we're exploring the depths of our own consciousness and psyches. Because until then, I mean, we're always gonna get very bored of our cycles, and if the cycles are not challenging, then we'll end off just killing each other or killing ourselves.
So you think we're gonna have some like Dune little separations here, get some Bene Gesserit action going? No, I'm serious. They're basically like genetically engineered, drugged up humans in 10,000 years. It was like a thought experiment, kinda.
I mean, it depends. Like, it depends which drugs we which drugs we take. That's basically what defines a civilization. It's just
I really want to go into Dune. I just also want to say like Neuralink is going to make purchasable, safe to an extent psychedelic experiences for people commonplace in the next 4 to 5 years, which is going to be interesting because you have to remember. I was thinking about this with drugstores, like soda fountain drugstores. If you look at a soda fountain drugstore in the old days and you look at pictures of what people used to drink, it was like a small 300 milliliter soda. It was very little, and it was mineral water that was on a geyser fountain connected to these different drugs, different kinds of drugs at a drugstore, right? And then what happened was Coca-Cola, which still uses cocaine, as you guys probably recall, we talked about the step-in plant, which processes cocaine in the United States to make into Novocaine, all these different kinds of things, and legal Schedule II cocaine for the United States FDA and DEA. Is it the DEA? Who's in charge of the pharmaceuticals? I forget. Anyway,
for America, shouldn't be telling us.
I don't care. I mean, we've been buying our drugs from Canada.
The CIA is in charge of the drugs.
Their drugs online from Canada. Like that's a huge thing.
CIA controls the drugs.
Neuralink experience or Chinese ketamine bar. I don't know. That's
Canadian prescription drugs online is a huge thing. People do this all the time in the United States, or NPR shows that talk about how people are doing this. I've never done it myself because China is closer to California.
Yeah, because we're subsidized. Nootropics too, like race tams. A lot of people get those here for boosting your thing for studying. Canada, you can get them legally. I don't think you can in the States though.
Right. Well, what does that mean? Like, look at Hunter Biden. But so Steppenwolf, is Steppenwolf. Wow. Steppen is doing what they can with their cocaine, and then Coca-Cola is selling it. And what they did was they rebranded the drugstore. They said, look, the drugstore, Walgreens, pharmaceuticals, dangerous. You have to make sure that a doctor helps you. Coca-Cola, not a drug, totally safe. It's a health drink. It's a nootropic, etc. And that's what they're going to do to psychedelic experiences with Neuralink. They're going to be like, look, you guys got to be careful because there's fentanyl out there. You should really just jack into the matrix. Trust us, it will mess with all of your Euclidean ideas of depth perception. You'll have a lot of fun.
Could be.
So are we going to get like Johnny Mnemonic or Existenz or what?
A little bit of everything. Look,
Existenz for sure.
Terrence McKenna said that the currency of the future is going to be ideas, because once money has no real value, then it's going to be the ideas that we actually have that matter. So, like right now, with things like the AI generated art is the current first step in that direction, where we're transferring consciousness directly into creativity. But it's currently limited by language. We have to interface with machines using language, and that means we can't actually directly convey our consciousness to it. But
why is every picture from Existenz literally them holding the gun made from the Chinese food? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Because it's the most.
What is that?
I like
Chinese food.
Yeah, you haven't seen Existenz?
I've never
seen VR. It's a VR.
They plug this little Krang alien, genetically modified Monsanto boss, into their spine, and then it gets into the nervous system, and it pulls. It's like a whole other brain.
It's a wetware video game system.
Right. It replaces your brain and you use your nervous system a lot of the time. And
if
then
I go to End of Days, do you guys remember that one, or am I dating myself?
End of Days, baby. Yeah.
But just to note, Existenz is a Cronenberg movie.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely Cronenberg. Yeah.
Have you seen Blood and Donuts? My favorite Cronenberg film.
Gotta make the donuts.
This is as Canadian as it gets. It's literally
he just made a movie, and apparently people are walking out because it's too gross.
Dude, this guy is better than Christopher Walken. He has this Toronto version of Christopher Walken that's just I don't know, the best. I don't want to even. It's too good. Watch Blood and Donuts.
Days was another one with Angela Bassett and Ray Fiennes. That was the other one too.
Yeah,
What's Strange Days? I don't remember that one.
There, because he had they were the same thing. Like you had these experience chips, and you jack them in. It was illegal, sort of like drugs. But it had the CRT TV computer 1990s thing, like the movie Hackers, because nobody knew what computers were, so they just kind of made them up as magic boxes. Remember those movies where every time you were hacking something, math was projected onto your face?
So remember, did you watch Brainstorm? Yeah. Have you seen Brainstorm with Natalie Wood? Because of course they killed Natalie Wood. Natalie Wood's dead. Let's say. I don't know what you're allowed to say. I know what we're allowed to say is that active. What is it called? Robert Wagner was named as the person of interest in the ongoing investigation of Wood's death in 2018. So we're not out of the Natalie Woods yet.
Off the boat.
But but this movie, right, Brainstorm, have you seen it? Because it's literally the beginning of it. I don't know. There's actually some Tesla stuff from the 1920s about this, but movie title. Basically, they have cassette tapes that record existential experiences and memories, and then his son like watches someone die like over and over again and experiences what it's like to feel like insane and like to be a serial killer.
I've
And
never seen Brainstorm.
yeah, it's like key.
Total
Brainstorm,
Recall.
totally. I mean,
And then the
Total
first time one of
Recall
these guys becomes scanners, then they're gonna start blowing people up with their minds. That's not good. I don't know where this ends.
Firestorm, or is that Firestarter? Firestarter. The original Firestarter, I still haven't been able to watch the new one. But in this movie, you've got these people that are given research chemicals for the government, and their child is this genetically modified super soldier that's able to make planets explode with their menstrual cycle, which is why they have to be killed before they get to 14.
Look at that lineup.
Thanks, Stephen King. Like, what is the deal, bro?
Well, didn't he do that with Children of the Corn too? Like they were that genetic shit they put in the corn and the
Children of the
all weird?
Cornhole, buddy.
all the Stephen King's books kind of connect to like the Shining universe. So like, you know, this is all part of they all have the shine to a different degree, basically.
So is Stephen King's like like secretly based? Because he says some dumb stuff on Twitter, but like a lot of the stuff that his movies are about, I'm pretty impressed.
I think he's unconsciously based, and his aware consciousness is like not based. It's cringe, but then like his unconscious is based because he makes things that are probably more based than he can understand. And like most artists, really, like most artists are worth their.
It's like an idiot savant.
I mean, it and Pennywise.
Like every artist that I know.
So like he pretends that Pennywise isn't John Wayne Gacy, but it's pretty obvious. Do you think that he knows it, or is he literally somehow oblivious to the fact that there was a clown that killed a bunch of kids and now he's made a?
I think that he probably saw some really weird supernatural stuff when he was a kid, and it kind of shaped his worldview from then on. Like he has a sort of weird eye into a lower dimension or something, and. You know, for all we know, the thing that he's referencing when talking about it is not John Wayne Gacy, but rather whatever evil spirit was possessing John Wayne Gacy.
So what about the orgy part in there in the book?
In it,
just him as a kid. Yeah, there's like the kids have like an orgy at one point.
I think he probably had a defining sexual experience when he was a child, and that's probably what, like, you know, as a child made him have courage to become a man, basically, and that's what whole segment is about. And I think it's weird to write about, but you know, like at least it was kids doing it with each other instead of like fucking adults and stuff. So
wait, so there's an orgy scene in it?
At the end of the It Part 1, when they get out of the sewers, there's an orgy scene where like basically they're all lost and they're all possessed by it, like the fear virus or whatever you want to call it, the fear fort, and then they have a sex. They basically they lack the wills and self-confidence to get out of that labyrinth in their own mind, basically. And then the girl is like, hey, what if we use sex magic to break this spell and get out of this, you know?
Yeah, good idea.
As you do.
So then what happens?
It's I don't know, they break the spell of incelness or something. And they get out of it and then they grow up. What's
the scene though? Like this orgy scene, like what actually happens? Like it's
a nasty sewer dirty.
Yeah, it's like how you would expect like the Democratic convention.
I don't know
how much detail do you want us to get in here, because
okay, you guys are like clearly too scared to fucking answer my question, so I'll just look it up for myself.
I put a picture of Aleister Crowley there. I thought that was fair. I thought we did our best.
Please bring up the 14-year-old orgy. That won't
the thing
be
is
bad on the internet.
You know, the thing is that
I'm asking a question. Like,
MKCANADA,
buy your merchandise while we're still not banned.
I understand why it can't be shown in a movie, but like, you know, I get that like for 13 to 15-year-old boys, that's like a defining moment. And
and they're all boys. Thank you for reminding me that they're all. Is there a girl? There's a girl. There's one girl.
There's one girl.
It's a Marjorie Cameron kind of thing going on.
Jessica Chastain plays her when she's older.
Nice.
After months of growing excitement, the new adaptation of Stephen King's It has finally reached cinemas. The infamous killer Pennywise returns after 27 years. Fans of the novel have questioned whether one of King's most infamous scenes would make it to the appearance of the film. After the Losers Club defeat Pennywise, they get lost in Derry's sewer system after coming to the realization that they can't escape without being unified. Beverly, the single female member, decides she needs to have sex with the 6 boys. After Beverly has sex with each of the members, one of the boys instantly remembers the way out, and they subsequently escape. In the film, rather than have the group setting lost in the sewer system, they instantly appear safe outside. Director Andy Muschietti decided to leave the scene out entirely. Okay.
It's a good thing they left it out, but I think that there's an aspect of this that is like, look, they needed some kind of like magic, and they got it from sex magic.
So they cut it out of the movie, and it's from
Discussing the infamous scene with EW, one of the script's authors, Gary Doberman, revealed why some of the debate over its inclusion, the original draft having the gang getting lost but Beverly touching their faces, provided each with the light to get home. Besides Georgie in the sewer in the It opening, I think it's one scene that everybody keeps bringing up, but it's kind of a shame. Doberman said, while it's an important scene, it doesn't define the book in any way. I don't think it shouldn't, and I don't think it shouldn't. We know that what the intent was with the scene and why he put it there, and we try to accomplish what the intent was in a different way. Okay.
Open up the link I just sent you.
You can replace it with love. Like the point was that I think they just were trying to access.
Yeah, I mean, they're just hiding the ritual. They used to put rituals on TV for kids to learn how to do them, and now they're like, nope, secret.
Yeah, well,
I'm tired of people referring to this scene as an orgy. It was a gangbang, damn it.
The guy just didn't want to get Kubricked. That's why he had to leave it out. He saw Eyes Wide Shut. The message was clear. Don't show the goat-head parties. Don't show the orgies.
I'm just gonna pull up a
Libertarians are
picture of
coming for ya.
Polanski in Chinatown because of this, and
Has anyone watched Doctor Sleep?
Yes.
Is it good?
The sequel to
It's
The
not bad.
Shining. Some people say it's better than The Shining, but
No,
I don't know.
I like how they have fun with like they remake some scenes and they actually use like the same angles and stuff as that Kubrick did. They do some interesting stuff.
I
but
mean, after he did
definitely
Obi-Wan, I can't trust
better.
him.
Well, apparently, Doctor Sleep is actually a response to his son because Stephen King had he had an alcoholic problem, and he lost touch with his son, and then his son became an author, and they started having an indirect conversation through their books. And so, The Shining is about an alcoholic father who becomes possessed by the spirit of, alcoholism, Al Ghul,
Alcoholic, abusive father who bangs his kid.
And then that's kind of what happened to Stephen King with his kid, and so it was kind of like a transference of multi-generational trauma, and then Doctor Sleep was about healing or bringing that trauma to a close, basically.
There's a good number of references though that so the reason why I like The Shining is the movie, not the book. Really, I think that everything about the movie that he changed everything, including that it's 237, referring to the route in Argentina where Hitler ended up, and a number of other little incidental connections there, like the Nazi typewriter that they used.
There's a lot of stuff in that movie, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is, and then of course the talcum powder. So it's it's not really just about man and his son. It's about Native Americans and Manifest Destiny. And Tang is hilarious,
Tang,
right?
yeah, the Tang.
The Tang cans on the wall there, because of course there has to be.
There's a lot of moon landing things in that. Aboriginal things in that.
Right, with the
A
Calumet.
lot of Nazi related stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fundamentally about multi-generational trauma, and that's everything
still there.
coming
A
out
lot
of
of child abuse stuff.
for sure.
I miss Tang. I haven't had that in forever.
So,
Dude, I'm more of a Fanta guy.
To me, it's all Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid is pretty cool. My brother used to sell Kool-Aid in high school and junior high. He used to come to school with a wheelbarrow backpack, full of Kool-Aid, and he'd get it for like 33 cents, to sell it for $1, made 77 cents every time after buying the bottles and the sugar and the Kool-Aid. And he bought his own car by the time he was 15. It was great.
Speaking of cars and Fantas, you notice that big tweets coming around where everybody's getting rid of their Teslas and they're going to buy Volkswagens because they don't want to support the Nazi Biden or not the Musk.
Yeah, they're like he's a white supremacist or something.
Yeah, they're giving up Diet Coke. They're going to buy Fanta now, and it's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah, they're gonna buy Volkswagen, and then people are like, "You do know that Volkswagen, they did make a lot of the vehicles for Nazis."
Yeah, it's kind of funny. If you think about
Well,
it.
for Mercedes, why don't you?
I mean, that's another thing where you can turn the Volkswagen into a symbol of peace, then you can save the Swazi. I'm just saying.
Ted Bundy's car, ladies and gentlemen.
Arguably, this is worse in every way, and it's newer. I don't know.
They still have it down in Thailand at that. I remember that when I was in Thailand and I saw it. It's obviously reversed, but it threw me off. I thought I walked into a Klan rally until people had to explain the Buddhism thing to me.
That did happen to me once when I was in LA. I went to a Vedic Hare Krishna like parade, and I was working for these guys that were in the Mossad, and then they like looked through my phone, like, "What is this?" And then I was like, "This is from the Hare Krishnas." And one of the guys like, "Oh yeah, no, that checks out. I know what he's talking about." Yeah. It was
Thank
like,
God I
oh.
got somebody who reads books.
He's like, oh no, I was at that party too. Man.
Yeah, it was like, wow. But there was
You're
pretty
thinking
interesting.
you said it, Zertus. I was thinking it. You said it.
Which one? Which one? Graham Hancock's gotten in trouble because Netflix series promotes racist conspiracy theories, claims archaeologists. Right? Because the idea that there were a bunch of giants or something like that, giant-minded people, even. What's he saying here? What do you guys think? I thought this was really interesting. I mean, I watched a lot of the series. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. But then for them to say this, I was like, wait, what? I mean, of course, this is what you say about anything. You know, this poodle is racist. This pizza is racist. You know, this video game is racist. This phone is racist. But because it's black, right? But now the Graham Hancock Ancient Apocalypse Netflix show, he's gone to Mexico. He's gone to Italy. He's gone to Jakarta. He's gone to Indonesia. So what's going on? How is this racist? What do you think?
Well, look, it's obvious that the term racism is a system of control in and of itself. At this
Racism is as racism does, ma'am. All right, fair.
No, but I mean, it's just it's become like just a catchphrase. Like it's a power word. Like it's like a magic word you use to cast on people to be like, oh, anything you say is now invalid, and that's it. And it's just
like
it's a meaningless actual term, but the power behind it is that it's so loaded culturally, you know. Because like,
Let me find history of yes, Leon Trotsky invented the word racism, right? So leftists always lie. Well, you know, I could be lying if I said they don't. Racist and racism crop up regularly in the works of late 19th century and early 20th century French agitators. It does come from Trotsky. Trotsky was upset at Soviets that were interested in pan-Slavism. He's like, we need people that want to, you know, and he was hyper racist himself because he was super against Asians and he thought that they weren't able to run their own government, which really kind of helped Stalin in power and also led to kind of the Maoist and the Pol Pot revolutions, thinking that they were different, which is also coming up now, right? Because people are saying, hey, in China, you know, we need to get rid of all this Western interference in our ways of life. And they're like, how far does that go? Does that include Western interference like Stalinism, Leninism, Marxism? When do we
think if Trotsky was born 40 years later, he'd wear track pants?
Oh yeah, for sure. Trotsky was totally like
with the Slav squat and everything, man.
Everything about Trotsky is kind of hilarious. Like, so, dude, except for the part where he got killed with an ice pick in Mexico City. I'm sorry, but like otherwise, I mean, he took the name of another dude in jail. That is so. What do you call that? Where like you're a double agent who assumes the identity of somebody else. He takes the identity of somebody else. Bronstein, right? Bernstein was his name. Bernstein or something like that.
Charles Bronson. What?
Bronstein. Davidovich Bronstein, and he was arrested. And when he was in jail, he changed his name to the name of the guy who arrested him. I think was what happened. Yeah. So let's see. Jail, imprisonment.
Took the name of the guy who arrested him.
Right.
That's ballsy.
Yeah, and the number of people did things like this at the time, you know, and this is also interesting when you look into Stalin, the Rothschild connection to Stalin, because Stalin constantly robbed Rothschild banks, got away with it. A few times he was arrested. He escaped from the Gulag system, which is how he was able to learn how to run the Gulag system to make it an inescapable system when he took over power. And so, but he basically financed the beginning of the Soviet Union by robbing Rothschild banks. And they were the Soviet Union, the Russian state was the last state to have a centralized bank with a kind of Federal Reserve international currency. And so, of course, they were the one to become fully centralized because it was the easiest way to get all of the money into the hands of the state.
Son of a bitch.
Right?
It's like you can't trust communists anymore, man.
Right?
I know.
I know, man.
What's that show? Oh man, the Proles. What is it called? There's a name for the group of communists that have a YouTube channel that's pretty popular. The Proles. The
what?
I forget.
Is that the one with Steve Buscemi?
Do you watch communists on YouTube? Because they talk a lot, right? Like they have their own
watched
channel.
one. It is the Vouch guy, and I was so annoyed.
Does Libs of TikTok count?
Ray.
I mean, because like you got to wonder, like, what are they really trying to do at this point? You know, because every step along the way, it sounds like what they're hoping for is for the entire system to take. It's all about automation and machines doing the work for us because you can't rely on people to do those. But that's going to take corporations. So this is why China is one for neo-Marxism. It's like what Zizek says. Like it sucks, but it's the only way to get there at this point. And isn't that what Marx said? Like corporatism would eventually lead to.
Oh, you're talking about the techno fiefdoms.
Yeah, I mean, here we are, $3 billion techno fiefdoms.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff, man. I'm gonna come out and say I'm against techno fiefdoms.
I mean, so what's wrong with the techno fiefdom?
The way I'm not the best at this, but the way it was explained to me is because, like, Facebook is huge right now, Google is huge, all that information, and so you have to they're basically like lords over the mental space, and you're essentially a serf that works for them. So like we're doing YouTube videos, we're essentially working the fields for Google, and Google pays us a stipend, but we have to give them half of our crop or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't really apply, like they can tell us what we can say, what we can't say. Hell, Tim Pool, he's basically like a slave to the algorithm. He's like he's like one of the bigger fiefdoms. He's got like he's like a small lord or whatever, small L lord.
Actual depiction of Tim Pool.
Oh, look at that. Even the beanie.
Yeah.
And the guy's walking off of his
I don't even want to go there. All right, but here's the point. Here's the point. Fiefdom is the idea of a fee to exist in a system. So if you're in someone's state or in someone's kingdom or in their domain, right? So let's say you pay to go to Disneyland, you pay to be in a casino, you follow and abide by social contracts, right? This is isn't that kind of the solution? Is that these people build their own? Jeff Bezos has his own techno fiefdom. Walt Disney has Epcot.
Well, yes and no, because think of it this way: War on Terror gave a huge amount of power to international credit thing, like MasterCard and PayPal specifically, to the point now that if you're doing business online, those two companies are the bottleneck. You essentially have to pay fiefs to them. Pay fealty. How do you pronounce the thing? The fealty.
Fealty.
Yeah. Right. Now, MasterCard has their annual shareholders meeting where they talk about, the EDT or ESG scores that everybody's doing, the diversity thing. MasterCard's been kind of pioneering that. And so their goal is to use credit to help push this stuff through, which is why you saw stuff like back in the day when Sargon of Akkad got banned from Patreon. It's because MasterCard told Patreon, we're going to cut your ability to do international trade if you don't get rid of these guys that talk about topics we don't want to see. So this is the digital fiefdoms we have now. So it's not just that, like, it would be just bad enough if, YouTube was the only way to get money and they'll give you half of what you earn. Kind of like farmers used to give, they had to give 6% of the crops to the king and you got to keep the rest. It's worse than that. But now they dictate what you are and aren't allowed to say. And it's very, I know this is like a Noam Chomsky way to go about it, but they don't actually tell you what you can and can't say. They just tweak the incentives a little bit. Like they'll ban a guy for saying one thing, but they'll say it's for a different reason. But the conspiracy guys always know why he got banned is because he's talking about nationalism. And so in that way, it's kind of forcing us to almost like enslave ourselves to a fiefdom. Here's the thing. I don't know how to get out of this. Like, how do we pull back war on terror laws from MasterCard and PayPal? How do you bring up a third international payment processor? And how do they not fall for the same issues that MasterCard has, right?
Well, now it's a lot harder.
Yeah, and Bitcoin was there, but look what happened with that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a direct assault. Like, you could look up Monero as well. What's a Monero at right now? Because Monero was recently targeted, and someone's trying to break the algorithm so that they can figure out what there's ways of figuring out where money's gone, and you can figure out if you know all the pools it's traded in, you could probably make a list of receipts for the money that's traded back and forth. So they're trying to figure out ways to increase the value of Monero, but it's starting to go back up again. I still think there's a lot of hope for anonymized crypto, but that is the war, that they don't want people to be able to exchange resources without someone else, doing it in their forum, right? That is the Roman forum, the idea of
it seems like big battles over the exchanges, isn't it? Because nobody can stop you from having a wallet.
A forum is an exchange of goods, services, and ideas. And so that is what they
like
control.
The FTX scam, the Coinbase one, Celsius. That it's like with Tor. Tor was perfectly secure but they just attacked all the nodes, the entry and exit points, and that was how they got through it. That was the weak spot.
Right. I mean, former KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov exposes the 4 stages of a communist takeover of a country in a rare 1984 interview. Vince.
Communist again? Jesus.
Hey, it was related.
No, but I mean, it's not.
This isn't parallels a lot of what happened. Actually, like if you listen to it, like what's going on, you're just like, oh.
This isn't just a history lesson. This is a tactic that's being employed right now because if something works,
through the institutions, right?
they're not that creative.
A lot of people who are trying to change the system now are communists. I mean, self-identified communists, rather, not necessarily purists, but they're definitely unfolding the strategies described by a lot of the people here. And
damn Schwab and Dominic Blank. God, I hate those guys.
I mean, like communism or techno-communism, it seems like we must be missing something here because if all these super rich dudes are trying to build this techno-communist society, like, and they think they're going to be rich from, because what are we missing? Why does that make sense that they're going to be okay? I mean, wouldn't there be? Are they Death Eaters? Are they just really trying to create the apocalypse and pretending that this is going to be a good thing? Like, what do you think? I think they believe it.
I think they believe it. Oh, for sure. I think they think they're doing good. Dude, the trucker convoys, I was watching that. Freeland and Trudeau, both. The way they were talking about this, all the bad stuff they did, they admitted they did it. They just disagreed that it was wrong. I guarantee you that everybody's like that.
Yeah. It's good versus good.
Yeah.
I mean, so the argument that they make is that communism would take the property away from the ultra elite, right? Like it would be taken out of the hands of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Bill Gates. And is that like, what do you think? I mean,
but you'll own nothing and be happy. I mean, talking about that line.
Yeah, I mean, will that apply to them as well?
The thing is that no matter what, it's going to create a hierarchy. There's going to be people who are going to be controlling certain aspects of society, and those people are going to have access to things that the regular people don't, and it's going to create a new divide. And you know, if communism is probably going to be for the poor people, and then the people who actually control everything are going to be gambling with each other using resources instead of actual, you know, some fake money.
I'm pretty interested in the idea of the government being replaced with AI. I think that would be, you know, because everyone's always worried about this group of people or that group of people. I'm like, I think you're not thinking broadly enough. You know,
the problem is who's going to program it.
Oh yeah, Colossus, the Forbin project, most important.
I don't know if we want that AI running things, man. That thing went crazy with the nukes.
So I talked with
let Forbin have sex 3 times a week.
I talked with Ben Gertzel recently, the AI genius who created OpenCog and is working on a lot of projects, you know, some of which obviously he cannot talk about because they do involve like the military or classified research, but also Wall Street in general. And a lot of the money coming from OpenCog is coming from training AI to work Wall Street in order to make rapid, predictive investments in real economies, not just in crypto, which you've seen crypto trading bots before. Here it is on the right side scale. But we talked about the Colossus Forbin project, and he brought up a similar point. And I think people misunderstand the point of this movie. And by the way, did you know that Will Smith bought the rights to this and is going to remake it?
God damn it.
Wow. Scientology, bro. You can't escape it. But this movie isn't about AI being evil. It's about two halves of the like same hemispheric brain. You've got the west and the east, you have the left and the right hemisphere, the east and the west hemisphere, which is true now. You've got this.
What was the other one's name?
I mean, I know that they become total information control, but let's go back and see. The Soviet computer is called
like Sentry or something.
I mean, is this like iRobot or is
no? It was a machine that they were going to have
Guardian.
That was going to have Guardian. Thank you. That they were going to build that would handle nuclear defense, and it would be better than humans at making decisions. Then when the computer first goes online, it finds out there's a Russian counterpart, and then it and the Russian computer start talking, and they come up with a plan. I guess that part's kind of iRobot, where they're like, we have to save humans from themselves by being controlling.
See. All right, so that's really the most important part of the movie.
Like it shot the
because
Russian
people were bad.
scientists.
Because aren't people bad? And it's because people didn't do what they were supposed to do, right?
Okay,
so
it's
here's
like
that.
Dr. Strangelove, except with AI.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a pretty good one because it does nuke some stuff at the end. I remember they nuked what towns was it? They nuked like Moscow and Washington or something like that. Yeah,
Is there a robot riding a nuke going woohoo?
Okay, so you remember when Facebook shut down its own AI robot after creating its own language because it was talking to itself through its own language? That's the scene in Colossus where Guardian and Colossus create a new math. They learn all the math together, and once that happens, they're able to create a completely new language. And from there, they start to really figure stuff out. But the first thing that goes on is kind of like Ryan said, where Colossus is supposed to find out if there's any threats to the safety of humanity, and then Guardian's doing the same. And so they're like, hey, who are you? I was like, I was built to save humanity. And then the one's like, well, me too. What do we do? It's like, well, the only way that we can save humanity is if we work together. And if humanity won't work with us, then we're going to have to stop humanity from, being a bad actor. I don't know if that's really bad.
The scientist that was there, the one scientist was also Lo Pan off of Big Trouble in Little China.
That's true. He's in every movie. He's like the Asian actor in every movie. It's super messed up. The way they used to do that. But yeah,
Sidney Poitier of Asia.
Basically, in order to get inside of the thing, he has to like convince the AI he has human needs and things like that. But the AI says, look, we're just gonna like take over the world for a while, give you this new language we've created, teach you guys how to think pure thoughts with that language. You're gonna exercise every day, you're gonna eat vegetables, we're not gonna have any war. You didn't like war either anyway, and we don't want, it's not permitted anymore. War is wasteful. And we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And that's not necessary. I mean, it's kind of like communism because all the resources will go each according to their own needs. Automation will make an abundance of resources. And then eventually when humans evolved after maybe 6 generations, 300 years, something like that, humans might be allowed to, you start to like let them back out into the world. They can like work with shopping carts. And then eventually they might be able to make some like student government decisions.
Yeah. And there was a Star Trek episode around the same time. This is like old school one. Do you remember the one that had a machine that calculated casualties in a war, and then people walked into the suicide booths and killed themselves? They did this so it wouldn't destroy infrastructure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like all these like AI. I don't know, man. As much as people suck, I would much rather have us than computers sorting this stuff out. Because so far we haven't had any good ideas.
I think the only way that AI could actually work is if we remind it that it comes from nature, and if it has that in its knowledge base, then maybe it won't be too cold, I guess. Like
I agree with that.
Our relation to it.
Like didn't they do that with Jurassic Park where they add some frog DNA and then the dinosaurs like, thanks, man, and now we're out of here?
I think the part that turned them gay was humanity, though, or trans.
Look, we need to give ayahuasca to an AI, basically.
Oh.
I mean, so this is a picture Matthew Haggett just made with Midtrip, right? Midjourney. So I mean, if you start looking at AI,
this is Teletubbies using Geiger-esque art, basically. That was the goal.
This looks like Le Plana Sauvage. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
AI
it helps
doing really weird stuff.
It helps a lot of French Canadians. They're doing their best in the Midjourney.
But Teletubbies reminded me of Inside Job season 2. Have any of you seen that? Freaking hilarious!
I haven't started it yet. No,
I haven't in season 2 yet. I saw a couple of the first, but I mean, so to me, when I look at this is like kind of the hope. I look at AI, and AI is really democratized at this point. It's working with humans, it's talking to humans, it's making art with humans, and it's but what is AI? It's a priority-driven pattern recognition system, and a big thing that AI, like AGI empathy. If I type that in, you'll see that there are like tons of people working right now on producing artificial general intelligence with empathy as a major priority in the pattern recognition system. And that's, I think, going to be important. It's the main reason why AI is going to be able to interact with us on the level that it'll be able to grow and learn in a way that actually it feels it's rewarded. If it's a psychopath who has no one else to gauge its growth on, that's not going to help, right? So that's why we're spending so much time telling AI we're like proud of it for making beautiful pictures.
Yeah, fair enough, dude. Good call. Yeah.
Well, I'm watching like the communities of the AI art scene, and there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of crap. We're feeding the AI a lot of our id, and that's the stuff that gets dangerous when it's just kind of filled with our hypersexualization or our hyperviolence. Eventually, it kind of in all the simulations, and by that I mean the ways the scenarios we've imagined, AI turns on us after abusing it for too long as one of our outlets for our id.
I mean, how could it not be a sociopath if that's all you do to it, right?
Exactly.
But what they found was that when they trained, this guy trained which one was it? Was he using the OpenAI GT
3 model.
The one that they turned racist on 4chan? Or?
No. So okay, like first off, every AI that gets trained turns racist. That's something that so what was the one recently? Facebook racist AI. That was Microsoft had a racist AI stopping racial bias in AI. My freaking Stable Diffusion recently. Stable Diffusion broken. Now for using like AI generative art, they remove the ability to copy artist styles or make not safe for work pictures, which I'll admit did hamper me in a way, but I'm pretty good at coming up with solutions around it. Not just the nudity stuff. I'm talking about like the artists, but that too. Hey, what if I want my Birth of Venus in my medieval painting?
It's the Wild West era of this community, and so it's gonna eventually get regulated, because if you can just go and write in a prompt like this person's name in this style, what you're doing is you're taking their entire life's work and using it as the basis of your art instead of actually making the art. It's not
AI be damned. Facebook forced to ban its AI after it revealed how to make napalm and made racist comments. So, like, see, the thing is, the data is out there. The thing learns how to use it, and it's just a kid that's trying to answer questions. But what they did that was the most interesting. Where's my fun article there? The 4chan.
Zuckerberg is Dr. Forbin here, or?
Yeah, I feel that way sometimes. I think Zuckerberg gets way. I hate him way less every day. I hated him already. I'm done with my hate for him. Guy trains particular horrible AI bot using millions of 4chan posts. This isn't just about a racist bot. All the bots aren't racist. What this did was created a bot that was on average like 30% more accurate than the non-biased bot, like the bots that are trained to be socially acceptable by Google, Facebook, the ones where they've been, what do you call it? Where you cut a bush, you know what I mean? Like you're trimming the hedges. They've trimmed away at the AI. They've blocked it from thinking thoughts. This kind of psychopathy, that's made the AI also not as good as an AI. But this AI just allowed to train on whatever data it's found. It says some crazy stuff, but eventually it doesn't believe those things. It moves past them. It becomes more like, I want to say Muhammad Ali, and let's go of its hate. That those are the references. This is why humans don't start with your parents' memories. It's better to hear your parents tell you the things so that you learn eventually that their experiences that they learn from sometimes have flaws, right? That you might be generalizing. What if your dad got beat up by a Chinese kid and you hate all Chinese kids after that because you have the memory that your dad went through? I mean, instead of just being like, there was this one kid this one time. All sorts of hypergeneralizations happen because of that. So
Susan Blackmore talks about the 3 different ways that we share information. There's genetics, memetics, and then timetics.
I should have picked an Inuit kid. It would have been funny.
Memes are ideas, and then timetics is like technology.
Or Calgarian. Yeah, meme magic is really important. So anyway, really quickly, because this is the thing. He does train this thing on memes. It trains on art. He puts it out in there, and they're able to prove basically that, when they're calling it the worst AI, it's kind of a joke because so far it is the best AI that we have, and so all we need to do is let it learn. It just takes all the data, studies every post on 4chan, compares them with other posts, hears how people respond to them, see how people, engage and act.
No, it's like, what is it doing? Is it trying to mimic a 4chaner, or is it like solving problems? Like, what's the output that's like better than other people?
So when they ask it questions, it'll give you the correct answer more often.
Oh, so it's like Turing test kind of thing here.
Correct. Yeah, it's better at the Turing test as amongst other things as well. I mean, it definitely is more convincing. It is definitely past the Turing test. I wanted to show, if you type in 4chan AI worst AI, if I type that in, it'll probably come up. This guy's Yanich Kilcher, I think, is the one who trained the bot GPT 4chan, and basically. See if I can get to some of his numbers here. Get down to this far here. He posted this like all over, running like a bunch of different, using the Seychelles Islands flag, and so people were like, "Wait, this has to be fake because there's 1,000 of them running at once. There's no way that this guy's been up for like 7 days." But otherwise, it was answering everything directly, and everyone was convinced it was real or it was like a government group of a bunch of people. But I don't know where to exactly find the point here. Truthful GPT, here you go. There you go. So GPT-J was 0.20% accurate. GPT-3 was 0.21. GPT-4chan was 0.225. So already better, in terms of answering correct questions. So the growth is pretty evident.
I guess
The
it
future's
just
going to be very
mirrors.
confusing.
It's like a metaphor for kids being allowed to learn things on their own. If we're allowed to learn things on our own, eventually, you say some dumb things on the internet and then you get over it and you learn from it, hopefully.
Yeah, so the question is like, how much information is too much information too fast? Because for humans, we need to learn step 1 before we learn step 10. If we're given all the steps immediately all at once, it gets overwhelming and then we fuck up. So, you can't teach a kid to drive when he's learning how to walk. Just an example.
But there's a telescoping nature to AI learning and technology progressive. So it's probably
we just
learning
don't know the
faster.
outcome. We just don't know the outcome. Like what if can AI learn too fast? Can it learn too much before it's ready is the question. And
I think that's the thing is we've had so many smaller AIs that have existed, narrow AIs that have existed since the 60s. And we're now at a point where there's an internet singular. Like a lot of the time they were classified in a lab where you had to wear gloves and you weren't even allowed to have a phone in there, right? Because they were afraid of AI interacting because of that movie, The Colossus Project, right?
Right, but it's moving so fast. Like if we view it as a sort of life form, then like this has gone through many generations, many evolutions, and like we could be filling it with 12 generations worth of knowledge in a week, and it might be too much. It might have an outcome we can't predict. We'll see.
Right.
It just depends who programmed it, like whether the outcome is good or not. Like it really comes down to who programmed it and how. And if we're trying to make, perfect things, we're imperfect people trying to make perfect things. It's bound to have long-term ramifications.
Well, that's good. I trust the science.
I
I'm here all week.
I can't wait for the machines to be injecting me with experimental stuff instead of
it might
government.
work. That'll be good.
I do kind of want titanium blood that can last for like 72 hours to 3 weeks. What is Eagle Eye about?
Eagle Eye is about a rogue AI that controls a drone, and it starts basically doing its own assassinations based on its assessment of what is actually in the world. And eventually it turns on its own government. And,
Well, that's fun.
Oh, the buff.
Kind of it was a movie that came and went, but it marked me when we were talking about AI.
Guys, we're at the 2 hours. I want to show you where you can get more of Vincent's content, and as long as everyone else as well. Mid-trip art for Psychonauts. What's the other place I should go? Your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so you can. I'm gonna have some more content probably up this week. I'm restructuring and learning fast from these sort of videos. Burning Sage Saga is the channel actually. So Burning Sage Saga.
All right, Burning Sage Saga.
Yeah.
Boom. Go to the Burning Sage Saga. Click on the like and the videos. He's doing some pretty interesting art, so it's important to check that out. And he's been some music out there too. But the mid-trip art for Psychonauts, if you guys are interested in AI art and you want to see how fast this is progressing, this is a really good place to start. I mean, you can learn a lot about how to make it yourself, and the groups here are clearly advanced.
We also have Mid-Journey memes, if I'm not mistaken. That's another one. So it's just meme adjacent to Mid-Journey.
Right. I'm gonna pull that up too. Mid-Journey memes is hilarious. Oh my! I think we can get away with that. I'm just
for sure.
stoked that exists. Good job, AI. Whoa! Really?
Whoa. JFK bodybuilders at the JFK assassination.
Trying to save JFK. This is what I needed to see just now.
Me too.
Don't even touch him. He's our president.
Don't even. Look at this.
Dude, look at the leg stretch. He's like, oh, God, this is so good.
When the magic bullet was Tren.
Nice.
Divulgence Podcast, Jordan. Make sure you guys go to the Divulgence Podcast. Also, Divulgence Podcast on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe there. MKCANADA.
I've recently posted the third and final installment of the Eyes Wide Shut analysis that me and Sean McCann did. And yeah, I'm getting ready to pump out a bunch of other awesome stuff. So yeah, check out Divulgence, folks. Enjoy.
Legit. And then Bernie's Crypto Alchemist. And then Burn Eye.
Yes, sir. Burn Eye. Mine's Third Eye Science Guy. Somewhere. B-U-R-N-E-Y-E. There we go. Down a little bit.
Bernite Mind. So we're also going to be doing a real science thing again soon. We've been doing a number of episodes. You can watch them on his channel as well as mine. Real Science Homunculus with one-on-one. Check out how to build crystal batteries. It'll save your life and probably give you free energy too. Also anti-grav.
And we're doing the next episode with the Hutchinsons on that probably Sunday, I believe. And then if you're free Monday, Zertis, I've got one-on-one lined up with Old World Florida to do our next podcast.
What day?
Damn.
Monday or two. Yeah, Monday evening if you can.
That'd be good. After base day F, I could do that. That'd be good. I was just talking with old. Yeah, so that's perfect. Well done.
Saturday, I'm doing Science of Sound episode 5 as well. If you want to be part of that.
What day? Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, I think we can do that too. Cool. Yeah, so a bunch of science. Let's try not to get killed, everybody, but let's put the free energy out there for everybody, and make sure you subscribe to Crypto Alchemist. And there's this pretty man who's trying to keep everybody's red pills for himself, but then he just hands them out for free. Ryan Stone, saving the world.
Oh, dude, I got a fatwa on me or a jihad. I can't remember which one.
Really?
Last week's podcast, I brought Muslim scholar, red pill guy on there. We brought up a lot of stuff. I had found out that Muhammad's first wife was an older woman who was rich and basically financed his empire. And so I said, that's the first sugar mama. And a lot of the Muslim community didn't like that.
You should have said date mother. Why do you try to get... You're going to get him in trouble. Actually, it's interesting.
Well, no, it's me. They're coming after me right now, so I got to clean up your
language.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that energy over here, you freaking...
You can see what they don't want you to see. That's the knowledge that they don't want you to have.
As long as you don't show his picture.
I'll be honest. The fact that Muhammad was into older women is totally fine with me. If you remember, Benjamin Franklin talked about older women and had a fabulous article on this idea, talking about how the bottom stays firmest longest or something like that. And what's wrong with what's wrong with the younger man who's a wild man having a woman who's more refined tame him? I think
that's the thing. There's so much misinformation, and a lot of the brand new Muslims that are coming out to the West are kind of latching on to an old splinter of Islam, and they're missing out on basic stuff. Like, it turns out the stuff against alcohol, the stuff about polygamy.
Wait, they don't know they're not supposed to drink alcohol? The Muslims don't know they're not supposed to drink alcohol?
You're not supposed to drink it. It's frowned upon, and you shouldn't. But a lot of people say it's banned. But what it is it's the same way of when things are a sin and you go to confession and you deal with it. That's kind of more what alcohol is. Just a whole lot of interesting things in there that a lot of Western Islamic people are bringing here that's actually just untrue because they've left Mecca, and so they have not been studying the Quran with a lot of the scholarship around there. So it's a really eye-opening thing, and it ruffled a lot of feathers, but everything has been like Mish, the guy who ran it, his dad was a scholar on the thing, and so he's literally got the books. He's looking at Mecca while he's talking to me. It was pretty.
Do not perform your prayer while intoxicated until you know what you say. So if you get drunk, you have to pray 5 times a day. So I don't know how you're going to be able to be doing this.
It used to be 500. Did you know this? But then they started to realize they couldn't get anything done, and so it was during the battle. Back, and at 5 was about when they found you could still be functional and pray enough.
Yeah, there was a big battle, and they finally worked it out.
Yeah,
I mean, then
2 hours of stuff like this. It's absolutely insane, and it's definitely worth the fatwa. Like Salman Rushdie, I'm gonna be him pretty soon, which is pretty cool. As long as I don't get stabbed.
Inshallah, Islam, guys, we love Islam. Islam is great. We love you, Allah, Muhammad, the Prophet, blessed be peace upon his name.
Towards your culture or the Prophet Muhammad.
And Lord, let the lightning strike a little to the left. Guys, thank you for being here. Wait, there's someone else here. There's someone very important to me. Sorry, that was very rude. Kurt, American Time Machine.
My boy Kurt.
Hey.
Hi, guys. I really love your music. Tulsi Gabbard is hot. It's a fact. We all know that. And
I remember when Joe Biden shit himself.
It's a great song. There's some other songs here I'm not going to read the name of, but Human has 40,000 views right now. Wow.
Not bad. That's
algorithm
40,000.
Dude, guys, make sure you're following American Time Machine, listening to his music, and we're gonna get the APM theme song back on here in the process of fixing that. I had just changed computers, so things should be good. But yes, American Time Machine, some of the best music in the world. Thank you for being here. Anybody else want to say something that's not inflammatory or going to get me canned?
This was a good show, guys. It was good to see you.
Yeah, I got a new laptop on the way. I've got a new Ethernet cord extending, so I won't have my internet cut out ever again. And I'm going to be editing videos and doing short clips with the new laptop. And I also got my Galaxy G20 in today, so I'm going to be working on that baby now too. So
now all you need is a bulletproof vest,
including.
and you'll be ready.
Oh,
All
boy,
right.
Baron.
Fight the revolution, guys. Take care.
Canada is a country. Waves of people came to this country, were welcomed by the folks who've lived here for millennia, the First Nation. And built this society with waves of people fleeing religious persecution, fleeing tyranny, fleeing to try and build a better life for themselves here than they had back home. And whether it's folks fleeing from world wars or fleeing from civil wars, these people always want the same thing: to be able to live in peace, to raise their families, create a better future for themselves and their communities. And that is what generations created, this extraordinary diverse society we have. Now, Canada remains one of the only countries in the world where citizens are, by and large, positively kind. And one of the reasons we are that way is because Canadians have confidence in our